You must be Kyle.
Yep.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, doing well. Thanks for asking. Please take a seat.
All right.
I'd like to begin this session by letting you know that these typically take about 15 to 20 minutes, and everything in this interview will remain confidential unless you're risking harm to yourself or someone else. Do you have any questions?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, we'll begin. Also be taking down notes and recording the entirety of this session. Is that okay?
That's okay with me.
Great. Why don't you start by telling me what brings you here today?
Well, my friends and family started to notice that I started drinking alcohol to a very unhealthy extent.
Going off of that, how would you describe your childhood? Did your parents drink very often around you?
I had a pretty normal childhood. I would say my family drank pretty often around me. I guess my dad would have a few drinks during dinner time each night.
Now, did you ever drink with them?
On occasion, I guess. As I got older, my dad would give me a drink around dinner time, like I said. But that's about it when I was younger.
Do you remember roughly when you had your first sip of alcohol?
I had my first sip of alcohol when I was about 15 years old. Around that age is when my dad bought my first six-pack. But I didn't start drinking heavily until I was about a freshman in college.
Did your family ever become physical with you or others as a result of drinking?
I never really saw them become physical between like each other. But some nights after a long night of drinking, they would argue a lot and yell at each other in the household. So
Okay. Now, have you ever been in an altercation due to a night of drinking?
There have been definitely a few close calls at some bars and some parties, but my friends have been there to hold me back. But if I was alone, I would be in trouble. I would definitely be in a few fights.
I'm glad to hear that you haven't experienced that. You willing to open up more about your alcohol use?
Yeah, I'm willing to open up more about it. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm here, right?
Yes. What's a typical week look like for you in terms of use?
Well, usually during the week, I'll have a few drinks a day after I get home from work. And then on the weekends, I'll usually go out with my buddies to the bars.
Okay. You mentioned that you had a few drinks whenever you consume alcohol. Would you be able to elaborate more about the number of drinks you have?
Let me think. If it's just a normal weeknight by myself at home or at the bar, I'll have about 5 to 6 drinks. But I'm gonna be honest, if I'm at the bar with my buddies, I'll probably have about 10 to 15 drinks, which is a lot, I think.
I remember you saying a few minutes ago that your friends were a little worried about your alcohol use. Do you personally think that you're misusing alcohol?
I do. I trust my friends' opinions a lot, and as they've said that, I've been noticing in myself that I've been drinking a lot more than I used to.
It's brave of you to admit that there's a problem. It's a hard thing to do. After this interview, if you're interested, I can send you an attachment via email that tells you about the safe limits of drinking for men, if you're interested.
Sure. I mean, I'm open to anything that you think that you would help. I really appreciate that.
Great. You mentioned having a few drinks after you get home from work. Have you ever missed work due to drinking?
I miss work occasionally, usually after a long night of drinking on the weekend.
How many days on average a month do you think that you miss due to drinking?
It can vary, but mostly like monthly, probably about 3 to 4 times I'll miss work.
Have you ever shown up to work under the influence of alcohol?
There's been a couple of times that I can think of. I've gotten caught once, and my boss said that if it ever happens again, I'm done. I'm fired.
Now, to continue on that point, have you ever been fired by a previous employer for any issues like that?
No, I haven't yet, but I've been lucky that my bosses have been very lenient. So I'm definitely trying to stop that habit.
Well, I'm glad to hear that everything's been okay with your employers. Have you ever considered stopping alcohol or reducing the amount that you drink due to your job?
I feel like I could. I mean, I'm definitely willing to. I know it'll be hard, but if it means, saving my career, I'll do whatever it takes.
I like how open-minded and motivated you are. That'll be very helpful to in your recovery. Now, why don't you start by discussing the things you like about drinking?
I like the way that I feel when I'm drunk. I feel a lot happier and a lot less stressed out. Life can get a little bit hard, and if I can just let loose a little bit on the evenings, and it just makes me feel a lot better. And I wish I could feel like that all the time.
Now, what would you say you dislike about alcohol?
I'm not sure. Maybe when I drink too much and I just have no idea what I did the night before. Like I could have done anything. I could have broken the law or done something that I'm not too happy about.
Now, do you ever find yourself running low on funds due to your alcohol use?
No. I make sure my bills are paid, and I have a roof over my head, I have my essentials, but I will say, if I didn't drink, I would have a lot more money left over to where I could do things that I enjoy more, or, that are more productive.
I'm glad that you've been able to prioritize the important things like your bills, getting a roof over your head, having the essentials. Sounds like you're in a great position to begin your recovery process. Our time for this meeting is about to come to a close, but I was just wondering if you had any further questions.
None that I can really think of right now.
Before we end the meeting, I'd like to offer the option of you getting a sponsor. This would be someone that's going through a similar situation themselves, and they can provide insight that others may not be able to.
Yeah, I would be interested in that.
Great. Well, I'll email you the sponsors list after this. And while on the topic of sponsors, many of them went through a program called AA, and that's something I would like you to do before our next meeting.
Yeah, I've heard about AA meetings, but I have a few questions about them.
Yeah.
Does it have any cost to go to AA meetings?
Nope, it's totally free.
And I'm a little bit scared to go around other people and tell my story. Do you think it's like a very judgmental zone?
So, not at all. I'll agree, these are very tough stories to tell and open up to people, but this is a judgment-free environment, and many people have gone through a multitude of things themselves, so they would be the last to judge.
Okay, that would be great to talk about people about things that they've gone through and similar experiences, and after hearing that, I'm pretty excited to go to AA meetings. And I'll definitely let you know how they go.
Yeah, let me know what you think about it.
All right.
Well, it's great meeting you, Kyle.
Yeah, great meeting you too.
Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.